this is a drug action, drug period. Now this is a first green line is it indicates the therapeutic action, and this upper green line it indicates the toxic action, which indicates the toxic action. Now this is the action of this drug is the best action of this drug is between the therapeutic action and toxic action. If the action of the drug below this toxic therapeutic action is best, and this action of the drug above this therapeutic above the toxic action is harmful to our body. Now if we discuss from here to here, and from here to here, and from here to here, this is a period of action. This is a normal period of action of the drug. Before, this is starting point and this is ending point, starting and ending. Before once started and ending, before the ending another drug action is started, and before the ending another action of the drug is started. So if in case of excessive administration of levodopa, then these therapeutic action will be increased to higher area. So this will be the action of time. This is starting point and ending point, starting point, ending point, starting and ending point. So once the action of the drug is started, after ending, then there is certain time between the action of next drug. There is certain action between the starting of another drug. So as a result, if whenever the levodopa action is increased, then there will be time gap produced between the action of one drug and action of another drug. So in this way, levodopa action will result in on-off mechanisms. Now this is the effect of levodopa, and there are some contraindications for this levodopa. Let us discuss the contraindications of levodopa. The person who is suffering from peptic ulcers, they should not take this levodopa. Person who is suffering from peptic ulcer, do not take this levodopa. And the person who is suffering from psychiatric problems, the person who is suffering from peptic ulcers, and person who is suffering from psychiatric problems, and the person who is suffering from narrow angle glaucoma. Narrow angle glaucoma should not take this levodopa directly, or should not take this levodopa. So these are some indications, or these are some side effects and contraindications of this normal drug, that is levodopa, which is increasing the synthesis of dopamine. And there are another class of drugs Now, there are another class of drugs let us consider. This is one nerve ending, and this is GABAergic neuron nerve ending, and it releases the acetylcholine, sorry, it releases the dopamine. It will release the dopamine through the membrane bound vesicles. Now there are special receptors for the dopamine. There are special receptors for the dopamine on surface of GABAergic neurons. Now the function of this special receptor, that is dopaminergic receptor, is whenever this is released, it is binded with this dopaminergic receptor. It will bind it with the dopaminergic receptor and will initiate the intracellular signaling, which releases with G inhibitory protein. It is associated with G inhibitory proteins. Now there are certain drugs which are present or which will stimulate the dopaminergic receptors. They may be of two forms. So these are called dopaminergic receptor agonist. Dopamine receptor agonist. These are called dopamine receptor agonist, which is binding with this receptor and stimulating this dopaminergic receptor. So these are called ergotic derivatives. One of the drugs are called ergotics and another class of drugs are called non-ergotics. One are called ergotics and other one are called non-ergotics. So the best example for this ergotics is bromocriptine. And another drug is pergolide. Bromocriptine and pergolide are the two examples of ergotics, and another examples for non-ergotics are ropinirole. Ropinirole is a better example for this non-ergotics. Now, this bromocriptine is involved in activation of dopaminergic two types of receptors, D2 receptors, whereas this pergolide is involved in stimulation of D1 plus D2 type of receptors. Bromocriptine will stimulate the D2 receptors, whereas pergolide will stimulate the D1 plus D2 receptors. And there is another example for this non-ergotics or promiperol. This promiperol will show stimulatory action on D3 receptors greater than D2 receptors. Now, one of the important function of this promiperol is it will act as the antioxidant. It will act as the antioxidant. It acts as the antioxidant, and it will do not allow the remaining neurons which are not degenerated. Do not allow remaining neurons to degenerate. These are some drugs which are acting on these receptors and stimulating these receptors, that are ergotics and non-ergotics. Best example for ergotics are bromocriptine and pergolide, and example for non-ergotics are ropinirole and promiperol. And there are certain side effects for these dopaminergic stimulants. Let us discuss about the side effects. Let us consider this is dopaminergic stimulating receptor. and it is stimulated, then there will be overproduction of dopamine, then it results in dyskinesia. It results in dyskinesia and it results in psychiatric problems. Results in psychiatric problems and it results in one of the most important side effect of this dopaminergic receptor agonist are it results in pulmonary infiltration. Pulmonary infiltration. These are some side effects of dopamine receptor agonist, and there are another drugs which are acting at the monoamino oxidase type B. There are certain drugs which are inhibiting the monoamino oxidase type B. The name of this drug is selagelin. Selagelin is a drug which is inhibiting the monoamino oxidase. Let us consider this is a monoamino oxidase. And the selagelin is a drug which is binding with this monoamino oxidase and inhibit the action of this monoamino oxidase, so that the dopamine do not get degenerated and dopamine concentration will get increased. So this is a drug which is resulting in increasing the dopamine concentration. So there are also side effects for this which are common for all the drugs. It includes dyskinesia and it results in psychiatric problems. And it results in pulmonary infiltration. But there are certain contraindications for this selagelin drug, that is, person who is suffering from reuptake inhibition. Person who is suffering from reuptake inhibition, that is, receptors present on this membrane, if there is any abnormality in this transporter, if reuptake inhibitor, then this selagelin drug cannot be given to the person who is suffering from reuptake inhibition. So this is selagelin drug and these are some features of selagelin drug. Now there is another class of drugs which will act upon the catechol O-methyl transferase. Let us consider this is catechol O-methyl transferase enzyme. The function of this catechol O-methyl enzyme is it will take this dopa and converts and it adds the methyl group. This is the OH and OH. Now the function of this catechol O-methyl transferase is it will take one hydroxyl group and add one methyl group. So it results in formation of methyl dopamine. So in order to inhibit the formation of methyl dopamine, there are certain drugs which are acting at this area. That is tolkepan and entacapone. There are two classes of drugs that are tolkepan and entacapone. So this tolkepan, one contraindication for this tolkepan is there is a L. Now if we use more concentrated or more frequently this tolkepan, now it results in liver impairment. It results in abnormalities in the liver. If we take more tolkepan, it results in abnormalities in the liver. So entacapone is a drug which will inhibit this. It will inhibit this catechol O-methyl transferase and will inhibit the function of catechol O-methyl transferase and enhances the synthesis of dopamine. So in this way, dopamine can be increased. And there is another class of drug which is stimulating, which is having multifunctions. That is, first one is it will increase the synthesis and will increase the release and will decrease the reuptake. So this drug is called amantadine. So these are the certain drugs which are acting on the Parkinson's disease, which are all the motto of these drugs are to increase the dopaminergic activity so that there will be balance in between the dopamine and glutamine, so that there will be no impairment in the concentration of dopamine and glutamine. As a result, this is a treatment for Parkinson's disease.